Hi guys, this is a video on adding and subtracting decimals, and actually it's my second attempt because I had an error in my first one. So here we go. You're not the only one that makes errors if you make them. I do too. So first of all, we want to make sure that we've got our notes. It should look like this. We're going to fold it in half this way. And on the outside cover, we're going to put adding and subtracting decimals. And the first thing we want is when you add and subtract decimals, the most important thing to remember is that you must line up the decimal points. So, all right, so decimal points should be there. Must line up the decimal points. All right, let's look at some of our problems here. So our first one is 2 7/10 plus 3 tenths. And I always like to think about money here. So I'm going to think that this is like $2.70, even though it's not a zero at the end. We could add zeros and it doesn't change the value of our decimal numbers. And then I'm going to think that this is like 30 cents. So I can probably do this in my head. If I think $2.70 plus 30 cents, I know that that's going to be $3, but let's check it out. So 7 plus 3, notice I lined up my decimal points. Decimal points have to be lined up when you add or subtract. 7 plus 3 is 10, so I put down my 0 and carry my 1. I like to place my decimal point now when I get to it so that I don't forget about it. And then 2 plus the 1 we carried is 3. So my answer is what we expected. 2 7/10 plus 3/10 is 3. All right, let's look at the next one. Again, we're lining up the decimal points. 5 2/10 is like $5.20. 2 8/10 is like $2.80. So I'm going to estimate a little bit just so that I know when I get my final answer, I'm in the ballpark. This is $5. This is close to $3. I'm expecting an answer close to $8. Well, let's check it out. Got my decimal points lined up? Yep. 8 plus 2 is 10. Put down my 0, carry my 1, bring down my decimal point. 5 plus 2 is 7, plus the 1 I carried is 8. Well, we were right on there, weren't we? Our estimate was correct. All right, let's look at the next one. A little bit of a surprise in this one. So we've got 14 3/10. Now you might be tempted to line the 9 up in the ones in this tens place, but that's not where it goes. This is like $9, so we'll go here. We line up those decimal points and make sure that we're not putting our values in the wrong place values. So we've got like $14.03 here, $9.12 here. We've got this extra digit here that doesn't have anything in it, so I'm just going to add a 0 there as a placeholder to help me with my addition. 0 plus 2 is 2, 3 plus 1 is 4, bring down my decimal point. 9 and 4 is 13, carry my 1, and so 23, I would think $23.42. Another way to read this is 23 42/100. All right, we're going to move along to subtraction here. So we've got 7 52/100 minus 2 9/10. So again, we're going to have to add a 0 to hold our place value here. And now we're ready to do our subtraction. Hardest thing to remember for me is whether I'm adding or subtracting. So I want to think subtraction here. Decimal points lined up? Yep. Can even bring my decimal point down right now if I wanted to. 2 minus 0 is 2. Can't take 9 away from 15, so we have to regroup. 9 from 15 is 6, and then 2 from 6 is 4. And this in my first video is actually where I made my mistake. Alrighty, on to our next one. 5 35/100 minus 2 37/100. Ready to subtract here? Alrighty. So we need to take 7 away from 5. Can't do that. Again, it is a subtraction problem. I do have my decimal points lined up. I'm going to regroup. 7 from 15 is 8. 3 from 2, we can't do that. So we're going to regroup. And 3 from 12 is 9. And then finally, bring down my decimal point, and going to 2 from 4 is 2. All right, I think I've got everything right there. Alrighty, here we go. 8 and 9/10 minus 4. Now this 4 doesn't even have a decimal point, but we can add it. Remember, there's always a decimal point that's invisible right after our ones place in any number. We just don't write it because we don't have to write decimal points when we don't need them. Alright, 9 minus 0 is 9, and 8 minus 4 is 4. Don't forget to place our decimal point, and that is 4.9. All right, on to our last row here. This would be a great time for you to stop the video and try these three on your own, and then restart the video and check if you've gotten them right. All right, so again, we've got to remember what we're doing. So here is 3.6 or 3 6/10 plus 8 1/10. So 3 6/10 plus 8 1/10. 6 minus 1 is 5. Bring down my decimal point. Oh, now see, I did it. This is addition, not subtraction. Okay, 6 plus 1 is 7. And that's a 7. No carrying, bring down my decimal point. And 8 and 3 is 11. So we should have 11.7 there. Okay, like I told you, my biggest worry is whether I'm going to add or subtract. Okay, now we've got 15 and 7/10 minus 2 and 6/10. Again, I'm subtracting, so 7 minus 6 is 1. Bring down my decimal point. 5 minus 2 is 3, and I get 13 and 1/10. All right, how did you do? So far, so good? 3 and 85/100 minus 1 and 752 thousandths. All right, so again, it's a subtraction problem. I've lined up my decimal points. I've got an extra digit here that needs to be filled in with a 0. And now I'm ready to subtract. So I can't take 2 away from 0. I need to regroup. And 10 minus 2 is 8. Can't take 5 away from 4, so regroup again. And 5 from 14 is 9. 7 from 7 is 0. Bring down my decimal point, and 3 minus 1 is 2. Alrighty. So if you've watched the video all the way to the end here and you've checked yours, go ahead and put a heart right here on your sheet. And if you have that heart when you come into class, you'll get a strong book. See you then. Bye.